Hey guys, welcome to DSA-n-Design. We are learning the linked list. In previous video, we have looked at how to create a basic linked list, how to add the nodes, and then how to finally print the linked list, right? So this is what we have looked at the previous video. Now in this video, we will actually see how do we how to add a node at a particular index, right? Index in linked list. This is what exactly we are going to look at it in this video. All right. So before that, let's try to understand what exactly means that when we want to say that we want to add a particular a node at a particular uh, uh, position, right? Or particular index, right? So let's say, for example, I have three nodes in my linked list. I have three nodes here. For example, this is my N1, which is at 1K location, N2, 2K location, and 3K location. Okay. Simply, this is the address, right? This is my address. Now, I say this is value 10. I mean, the value of this particular or the data pointing to this particular node is this. And then what is the next? Basically, next is going to be 2K because it's going to point to this particular node. And similarly, value for this node is going to be 20, let's say, and then next will be 3K. All right. Now, this is pointing to node 3. Node 3 value equal to, let's say, 30. And what is next basically here? Can you guess? It's basically going to be null because this particular node is not pointing to any other node, right? So this is what we have learned in previous video, right? If you're not very sure how it is next is actually pointing to this different address, go and watch that video. All right. Now, what we will learn is we will try to create what exactly we want to do. We want to actually create a new node and at a particular index. For example, I want to actually case one, right? Let's say case one. I want to say index equal to, for example, one, right? I want to add. Um, I want to add basically. Okay, so let's keep it like this. Mm, case one. All right. I want to say I want to add a new node, all right, at index number 1, which is basically this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. How my final linked list after addition should look like? It should be looking like something like this. So let's draw it here. So it should be this is N1, this is let's say N2, and this is N3. This is the existing one, right? N1, N2, and 3. Now new node will come here and this is going to be NN, right? Now after inserting this new node at index 1, which is basically 0, this is 1 and this is 2, all right? This is the new node. So after inserting, this particular node should be sitting at 1, right? So this should ideally be pointed to this, right? And this should actually point to this, and this should actually point to this, something like this. Now, the new one, the new node, the new index will be 0, 1, 2, and 3, isn't it? So this is how actually we have to look at it. Now, logically, if you see, how do actually you link it, isn't it? So what exactly we did it here uh, is basically we actually went one node before and we just said next of that particular node is pointing to this, something like this, isn't it? So let's try to see another case basically, and then we will try to understand in more detail, right? So this is what, hope this is understanding, making sense, right? How you can add a node at index number 1, right? Let's say the second case could be that we want to add a new node, right? Case number 2 at index number 0, which means we want to actually add it here, right? At the very first one, which means the existing 0th node, 0th index will become the first index, right? So something like this. For example, we had already this node already, right? Pointing like this. If I add a new node, it should become, let's say this is new node. This is N1, N2, N3, right? Here also same thing, right? Now what will happen is when I add a new node at index number 0, this was earlier, right? Earlier before adding, this was like 0, 1, 2. After that, what become is this becomes 0 and this is going to point to this particular node. Now this become 1 and this become 2 and this node become index number 3. Making sense? So if you want to add it at the index, 0th index, then scenario is completely different, right? Now, at the end, similar way, and will, if you want to add at the end of the linked list, right, at the last one, the scenario is going to be similar basically how we actually inserted at the middle of the linked list, right? So there are only two cases. One is how to add. Now the question is basically what exactly we want is we want to add this, and what exactly we want to return is we want to return the head node, right? So if you look at this scenario, is my head going to be changed? So this is my head, right? Initially, before even adding the new node, this was my head. Do you think if I am adding the node after the head node, anything, is my head node is going to be changed? No, right? It's going to be the same one. My head node is always going to be point at the 0, this one, right? If I add here, I add at the end anywhere, my head node is not going to be changed. Now in this case, my head node is going to be same, but in case where index is 0, where I'm going to add a new node at index number 0, my head is going to be changed. Why? Because before adding, my head was actually this one, right? This was my head before. Now after adding, my head is going to be this one, isn't it? So that's how we have to deal this particular edge case separately while coding, right? So let's try to understand, and add this, we want to add it. What exactly we want to add? We want to add a node at a particular location and in the linked list, and and return here, right? And return the head. Return the head. All right. This is the whole problem that we are going to solve it, right? Now hope you are understanding like how do we actually add this particular node and how do we do. I mean theoretically you understand, right? Conceptually, let's try and go and code actually how do we handle these scenarios, right? Okay, so let's go to my IDE. All right. So what we have done is, what we will do is, we have this class already where I say link list operation, where I have one print, basically print link list, which will help me to show you how my link list is looking like after adding and before adding, right? So what I will do, I'll create a new function, okay, new method basically. So I'll say public, I'll say public static, and I'll say node, because I am going to return a head node, right? That's why I'm saying return type is node, and I'll say add node. All right, I can just write this particular name of this particular function, and what are the arguments that I'm going to supply, right? So if you look at here, right, if you look at here, what exactly all the things that we need actually the value of the new node, isn't it? That's how I'm going to create this particular new node, right? Value of the new node, and then also want the index where I'm going to create. So I want two things basically, right? Let's go here. So what I need is, first I need the head node, obviously. What is my head node? And then I need value. What is the value of the new node? And then I also want the index, right? Where I'm going to insert this. Now let's try to understand this. What I'm going to say, I'm going to say, okay, first, once I get all these things, I'm going to create a new node. First of all, I'm going to create a new node first. So I'll say node nn, and I say new node, and I'll say what is the value of this? Actually, value is the value, right? This is what I'm going to take it from this particular thing. So this is my new node is done. Now, in this process, what we have done actually, if I can just show you here, all right. Uh, if I can show you what exactly we have done till now, right? So what we have done, let's say we already have 1, 2, 3, okay? This is 10, 20, 30. These are the three nodes already existing linked like this, all right? Now, when I say nn equal to new node, and some value, let's say 100 I given, what will happen? A new node will be created here, okay, and the value will be 100. Now the thing is, next step is how do we actually add based on the index, right? We will decide where exactly this particular node is going to be added, right? This is what we are going to handle the next. All right, so let's go to id and try to understand here. Okay, now if, as I said, if my head node will be different if index is going to be 0, isn't it? So what I will do, if index is kind of 0, then what I'm going to say, one second here, if index is 0, then I'm going to say uh, new node of next, new node, one second, is it coming properly? Dot next, okay, should be head of this, isn't it? If I am going to do it, so it will be like this. So I am going to actually point this particular node. If you can look at it, right? If I am going to say I am going to insert at the 0th node, then my this particular node will be like this. So this is going to be my index 0, isn't it? So this is how I'm going to do. And after that, I'm just going to return this and head. What will be head now? Head was before that, this was the head. Now my head will be this basically, right? Right? So if I'm going to say return head, before that, I have to say head equal to, head equal to what? Head equal to NN, isn't it? And then I say return head. All right, make sense? This is what exactly we are going to do if we are going to add at the initial node, right? So this is the one scenario. Now, what is the remaining? Rest of the scenario is basically if I'm going to add a node, I'm going to add a node at any other location except index number 0, right? So how we are going to do it? What we are going to do is, let's say for example, let's try to understand this. So if let's see, I have this particular linked list again, same thing, 1 2 3 4 maybe, I say 10 20 30 40. All right, these are linked together. Now I have already created, let's say this is 100, already created a node, this is new node, all right? This is n1 n2 and 3 and 4. All right, now I want to insert here basically, let's say I want to insert at, this is actually 0 1 2 3, I want to insert at second location, right? I want to insert at the second location, I mean basically second index here, right? So what I will do is, it should be 0 1 and 2, 2 this existing, so it should be something like this. Okay, so this should be actually, this should be pointing to this, and this should be pointing to this. This connection will be gone, isn't it? After that, because then that is how this is 0 1 and this is 2, because I want this new node to be pointing at the adding at the second node, second index, right? And this will be 3 and this will be 4. Making sense, guys? So what I have to do is, basically if I say I have to give an index, this is the index, right? Index equal to 2 was given, so I have to actually go to index 1, and from there what I have to do, I have to actually uh, from index 1, then I have to join this particular node, and this node should be joining here. Okay, so let's try to basically, so what is the way actually what you can do? Let's say up till here we have already done it, isn't it? We have already created a node. Now how to make a connection? There are two ways to make a connection here, right? So one way, two way to make a connection. First way is, what I can say, the moment I reach here, right? Let's say I'm actually storing this one. I traveled somehow here. This is my temp. Okay, I'm here at temp. Okay, now what I will do, say I'll say temp equal to, I'll store this temp. Okay, I'm here, no? So I'll store, or maybe let's see one thing. Let's do one thing. What I will do, I will actually say, what is the address of this? This is, let's say, temp, no? This is, let's say, temp. Now this is temp.next, isn't it? This is temp.next, while my link is already connected, isn't it? Or let me try to actually make it a very fresh one. I think this will make more sense. I think this concept is very important to understand. Okay, so let's try to see. Let's say I have 0 1 2 3. Let's take only 3 only, 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, and 3. All right, I want to add at index number, so this is my previous index 0 1 2. All right, I want to add a new node at index number this one, so I created a new node. All right, at index number 1 I want to add at index number 1, right? Obviously my linked list should be actually this 0 should be linked to this, and then this should be linked to this, like this, right? But what I want to do is I want to see here, I want to actually go to this particular, this is my temp. Okay, now this is temp before adding, right? And this is my temp dot next, right? This is agree, because we actually trying to traverse this linked list and we just want to go one is index before, means I'm going to stay at here like index number 0, because one index before index 1 is 0th index, right? I'm going to be here, and then what I'm going to say, I'm going to say this new node, right? Now I have to connect this, right? So what I'll say, new node dot next, I'm going to say temp dot next. Make sense? New node dot next is going to be linking this, right? Temp dot next. Temp dot next is this node, right? So I'm going to link it. Now safely I can come, I can say temp dot next. Now temp dot next, which is basically this one is going to be linked to this, equal to nn. All right. Now this is what exactly we have to do, and then return head. As I said, head will not impact if you are adding any node after 0th node, right? So this is what the main concept is, right? Try to understand. There is another way also. We can discuss sometime later, but for now, you try to understand how we do it, right? Let's try to code it then. Now let's go to ID and try to see that. And else, in else, what I'm going to say, I'm going to just say traverse the linked list first, right? So I'll say I'll store the head node on the temp variable, and I'll just run a for loop which will say int I equal to 1 and I is less than or equal to index, what is that, idx minus 1. Okay, one index before given index, right? That's where I'm going to travel, and then I say plus plus. All right, simple for loop, guys. And now what I'm going to say, temp, I'm going to just traverse the similar way how we traverse, right? Now we are here. Now the moment we actually loop is finished, my temp is already at, where is it? It is actually here. If you see here, my temp is already here, basically one node before that. Actually in this case, since we have 3 nodes only, so that's why it is showing you 0, but it will actually come one node just before the index, right? So index minus 1, and that location we will be here. Now temp is storing one node before my index, right? Given index. Now what I will do, I will just say, what I will say, next nn dot next, because I have created a new node. I'll do the same thing, temp dot next. All right, and what I will say, temp dot next should be pointing to what, nn. All right, now I'll say here, after this I'll just return head. All right, because my head is not changing in this case, head. That's it basically. Okay, let's try to see if this code works. Okay, I'll just try to do one thing. I'll just take this function and I'll go to my main. This is before 1, right? And I will just say add a node, and I will say what are the arguments that we have to supply. We have to supply the head node. Okay, and then what exactly we need to do, we also have to give a value. Let's say I'm giving 100 and I'm going to say maybe index number 1. All right, simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay, now I've this is going to return node, right? So I'll just store in head 1. Okay, this is going to store the new head. This is going to return new head. Now what I will do, I will, this is my linked list and I got the new linked list after insertion. This is the head node. Now what I will do, I will just print this, guys. Okay, let me copy paste. I will just print the new linked list also, which is after insertion, right? What I will do, I'll say after here. Okay, and maybe I will just do something, one new line. Okay. So we can see it very clearly. Now this head one, because this is my new linked list head, no? So what should happen is basically, let's try to see. Okay, we have three nodes, a linked list. Before that it should show me three, and after that it should show me four. Okay, let's try to run it. Let's see what happens. You see that, guys, right? So linked list before new node, it's 10, 20, and 30. And after new node addition, it is 10, 100, and 20. So you see, we are actually inserting at index number 1. So what is the index number 1? This is the new index number. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Similarly, let me add one more node here actually. I want to just create one more, two more node. Okay. I want to just say here 40 and 50, some value, guys, right? Now if I say I want to insert at index number 2, right? Let's see what happens. I want to actually insert at, okay, one second, what is happening? Java N3, oh, I just need to give a new name actually. So now this should work. All right. Let's see. So one second. Okay, why this is the problem? See, guys, we have created this new node, but we have not linked the new node, right? Now we have to link also. So N3 will be linked to N4, and N4 will be linked to N5. Now this should work actually. Okay, let's go. Let's try to run it. Now 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 before that, and after inserting, where we are actually inserting, we are inserting at index number 2. So where is actually index number 2 in this one? Actually it is supposed to be at 30 location, right? So you see 10, 20, and at the 30 location we have inserted at the index number 2 here, basically 0, 1, 2, and then this previous one, this actually moved to fourth index actually. So something like that you can do. Let's quickly do one more kind of example where I have handled the different case, right? So let's try to insert at 0th index. Okay, ideally this 100 should be actually coming at the 0th location now, 0th index, right? So let's see. You see, now 100 is actually after insertion, this is coming at the 0th index, and then remaining is actually after that, right? So this is what exactly we can do this, adding a node at a particular location, a particular index in the linked list. All right, so that's all for this video, guys. I hope that this is going to be helpful, and I request all of you to actually subscribe and share with your friends. I think this is going to be one of the very detailed video for the DSA. I mean, basically the series for linked list, and after that we'll create for many other topics as well in DSA. So I think I just request all of you to share with your friend and subscribe if you feel that my work is really worth and it's adding a bit to your knowledge as well, right? So that's all for this video. Let's see you in the next video then. All right. Thanks.